Cancer is brutal. It doesn't announce itself with a loud noise or a sudden fever. It starts quietly, deep inside the dark architecture of your body. A single cell goes wrong, then another, until one day a doctor sits across from you, looks at a piece of paper, and says the words that change your life forever. It steals years. It hollows out families. It does not care if you are young, old, rich, or poor. It is, without a doubt, one of the most savage things that exists in nature. Because it is so common today, most people assume cancer is a modern disease. If you ask a random person on the street, they will blame it on processed foods, microplastics, air pollution, and sitting in front of computer screens all day. And while modern lifestyle factors definitely play a role, the terrifying truth is that cancer is not a modern invention. It was not created by the Industrial Revolution. Cancer has been waiting in the dark since the very beginning of life itself. To find the true origin of cancer, we have to travel back in time, not a few hundred years, but 1.7 million years ago. In 2016, researchers were digging inside a cave in South Africa when they found a tiny fossilized foot bone. It belonged to an ancient human ancestor, a species that walked the Earth long before Homo sapiens even existed. When scientists examined this ancient toe bone, they didn't just find a crack or a hunting injury. They found clear, undeniable evidence of osteosarcoma, a highly malignant, deadly bone cancer. Think about how profound that is. A tumor was growing inside the foot of a creature that lived before the invention of language, before the discovery of fire, and before civilization. And this wasn't an isolated incident. The same researchers found a benign spinal tumor in another skeleton from roughly the same era. Scientists call these growths neoplasms. Finding them in fossils from nearly 2 million years ago shatters the illusion that cancer is a modern problem. Cancer is ancient. But if cancer is so old, why don't we find it in every ancient skeleton? The answer is something called preservation bias. Cancer mostly affects soft tissue, lungs, breasts, livers, and skin. But soft tissue does not fossilize. It rots away over centuries. The only thing that survives for millions of years is bone. So, the fossil record only shows us the tiny fraction of cancers that specifically attacked hard tissue. We are essentially looking at ancient history through a keyhole. That is why mummies have been so incredibly valuable to science. Mummies actually preserve soft tissue. When modern researchers put 3,000-year-old Egyptian mummies inside advanced CT scanners, they found clear evidence of tumors hidden deep inside their ancient bodies. But we don't just have to rely on scanners. Ancient people actually wrote about cancer. Around 1600 BCE, an ancient Egyptian medical text called the Edwin Smith Papyrus described bulging tumors of the breast. The physician writing the text included a deeply depressing note regarding the treatment. He simply wrote, "There is no treatment." 1,000 years later, around 400 BCE, the famous Greek physician Hippocrates officially gave the disease a name. When he looked at a tumor, he noticed that the swollen red veins stretching out from the mass looked exactly like the legs of a crab. So he called it carcinos, the Greek word for crab. Later, Roman doctors translated that word into Latin. The Latin word for crab is cancer. For thousands of years, across multiple empires, doctors observed cancer and documented it. They just had no idea what was actually causing it. To understand why cancer is so ancient, we have to understand what it actually is. Cancer is not an invading virus or a bacteria. It is you. Every day, your cells divide to keep you alive, and every time a cell divides, it has to copy your DNA. But sometimes a typo happens, a mutation. Most of the time, your body's immune system acts like a spell checker, catching the typo and destroying the broken cell. But every once in a while, a mutated cell escapes the security system. It forgets how to die. It starts dividing uncontrollably, building up into a mass and invading surrounding tissue. Because this is a fundamental flaw in how cells divide, it means anything made of cells can get cancer. Dinosaurs got cancer. Ancient fish got cancer. Even trees and plants get cancer. It is the dark shadow of multicellular life. This brings us to the biggest question. Did ancient humans actually get cancer less frequently than we do today? The honest answer is yes, but not for the reasons you think. They didn't have lower cancer rates just because they ate organic berries and breathed fresh air. The main reason ancient humans didn't get cancer is because they died. Cancer is a disease of time. The longer you live and the more your cells divide, the higher the mathematical chance that a mutation will slip through. Most modern cancers develop in people over the age of 50. In prehistoric times, the average life expectancy was roughly 30 years old. If you die at age 25 from a lion attack, a severe winter, or a simple tooth infection, colon cancer never gets the chance to develop. Ancient humans weren't living in a cancer-free paradise. They were simply dying of other, faster things first. Plus, ancient doctors didn't have MRI machines. If a Roman soldier died of internal liver cancer, no one knew. They just assumed he got sick and passed away. So why does it feel like cancer is everywhere today? It's a paradox of modern medicine. Because we invented vaccines, antibiotics, and water sanitation, we stopped dying in our 20s. We now have millions of humans living into their 70s, 80s, and 90s. We are living long enough to enter the prime window for cancer to develop. Yes, modern lifestyle choices matter. Smoking tobacco, eating heavily processed meats, and being exposed to industrial chemicals absolutely trigger these mutations faster. But age remains the ultimate factor. Understanding that cancer is an ancient evolutionary glitch actually helps scientists today. If cancer has been with us for millions of years, researchers can look at other ancient animals to see how they survived. For example, elephants have trillions of cells and live for 70 years, but they almost never get cancer. Why? Because over millions of years, elephants evolved 20 extra copies of a specific cancer-suppressing gene called TP53. Human beings only have one. Scientists are currently studying elephant DNA to see if we can replicate that defense system in humans. Cancer is not just a medical problem, it is a 2-million-year-old evolutionary puzzle. From a 1.7-million-year-old foot bone in a dark cave to the high-tech hospitals of today, cancer has always been there. It is one of the oldest, most patient adversaries the human lineage has ever faced. But for the first time in that entire brutal history, we finally have the tools to fight back.